What's up, traders? In this video, we're going over all of my trading from the month of March. I passed two 50K combines with TopStep, and I am inches, literally inches away from passing a third 150K challenge with TopStep as well. So we're going to get into all the data. I'm going to show you the certificate. We're going to talk about what I did well, what I need to focus on for next month, what I could do a little bit better on. And I hope that by sharing the good stuff and the bad stuff, you guys take some value from this and make more money next month. So let's get into it. What's up, traders? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new, my name is Austin Silver. I really appreciate you being here. Make sure you're subscribed. I don't just do tutorials like this and weekly and monthly reviews. We also do weekly podcasts with the day trading show as well. And I don't want you to miss any of the future guests that I have coming up. We have some really fun podcasts coming. So make sure you're subscribed and you stay tuned for that. Now, before we get into this today, I gotta give TradeZella a shout out. If you are not using TradeZella to track your trades, you're gonna see TradeZella in today's video. We use this in our mentorship group. We advocate for all of our course members to use TradeZella. I think any trader that's taking this seriously should be tracking their trades. And I have a discount code and a link for you in the description of this video if you're not already signed up. So make sure you check that out. But here on screen, you can see my TopStep certificate. When you pass a combine with TopStep, they send you this certificate once. I'm already done two 50Ks that I have with TopStep X, which is their platform. And then the stats we're going to look at today on TradeZella here are from my Tradeovate account, which is a 150K combine. The one thing about TopStep X, which is their platform, it's new. I don't think as of filming this video, you can't, but maybe by the time it's out, it changes. Probably not. Right now, you can't export any trade data from TopStep X. And I think they're going to change that, like I said, but that's why we're going to focus on the 150K account, the data from that this past month, since I'm basically done it. I'm just a couple $100 away from finishing it. So hopefully in the first week of April, and then when we do the April review, you guys will see that this account here is finished. So let's get into it. You'll see up about 5.8%, really good. Trade win rate, 70%. 21 total wins, 9 total losses. Profit factor, 2.3. It's really good. Daily win rate is 86.6%. And my average win to loss is 1. So at a average win to loss of 1, but a 70% win rate, you can see why it's a beautiful equity curve and why we're basically done this challenge. I've had one bad trading day. As you can see, it was Tuesday, March 5th. That was the one day where we took a pretty sizable loss, down about 2%. That was after making almost 2% in the previous two trading days. I ended up making that 2% loss back on Wednesday and some between Thursday and Friday. I then ended up cutting my size a little bit because I felt like I was trading a little too heavy. So as you can see, the gains the following week, it's perfectly green, but they're a little bit smaller than the 2% and the 2% here, wins and losses, so to speak. Then we ended up moving house and having to pack the house and everything over the last 2 weeks, which is why you don't see a ton of trades. But still, markets have been really choppy at the end of March. And a lot of the guys in the group that we trade with lost money last week. I traded one day, I took one trade and I made money. So I think it's a really good reminder that you don't have to trade every day to be profitable, to take money out of the market. You just need to be on the right side of the trade. And we're going to talk about how to do that in today's video. As you can see at the top here, I have a ton of trades for us to go through, and I'm going to try to make this as quick as possible. But before we get into the trades, I want to show you the data. And there's a couple of stats here that I think are most important for you guys to study. And I would even say try to mimic, try to use my numbers as a buffer. Maybe think of them as like your bumpers when you're bowling and it keeps the ball from going in the gutter. This kind of can give you a guideline of what to shoot for yourself. So first thing is the average daily P&L you can see here is $587. The average winning day P&L is $940, and the average losing day is $1,700. So the $1,700 losing day is because we're in a combine, and I'm going to be a little bit more aggressive and try to stay in these trades as long as possible to realize the gain. I think if we are critical of me, and you guys can rip me up in the comments, that's the worst stat that I'm going to show you, is that my average losing day is bigger than my average winning day. However, my largest profit was $3,500 and my largest loss was only $1,500. I also want you to pay attention to the average hold time, 51 minutes on average for all trades, Wins, I'm staying in them about twice as long as losses. 59 minutes on the wins, 33 minutes on the losses. So I think that's really, really important. But the biggest thing for me, honestly, is out of 15 total trading days, 13 of them were winning days and only 2 of them were losing days. So I figure out a way, even if I don't make a ton of money, I figure out a way to fight my way back if I'm down and end the day green. Another thing that I do, if we go back to the calendar really quick, you'll see that I do not trade more than one trade a day some days. If I make 0.6% on one trade, I stop, especially after being up this second week. Look at Friday. I took one trade, made a little bit of money, and stopped. So I know how to control myself, and I don't let greed and over trading and oversizing screw me up. And I really believe that if I share anything with you guys that is like the one thing I would tell myself when I was younger, it's realizing gains and minimizing losses is the key to profitable trading. Entry signal is not the key. Take profit is not the key. You want to be able to manage the trades properly. That is the key. So we're going to kind of go through some of the trades. This is not all of the trades, but we're going to start at the beginning of the month and we'll work our way through. I want you to see the execution arrows here. You'll see they're blue arrows and red arrows for my exits and entries. I wanted to show you trades where you can clearly see what I did so we can break down the repeatable pattern behind the strategy that I'm trading. Now, I should also say, if you want to watch me trade these strategies live, a lot of these trades are taken in front of everybody. You've got to come to ASFX TV. That's our live streaming platform. I'll put a link for a free trial in the description of this video as well. If you're not signed up for ASFX TV, it's only $10 a month after the free trial. It's a no-brainer. You should be making more than $10 a trade, so we're making it extremely, extremely affordable. Like I said, a no-brainer. I want to be the Netflix for day traders, basically, where you can come in and we're adding talent over the next couple of months. And you can learn from guys like me and Tom and James and Evan and some of the guys that are going to be streaming on the platform in the next few months. So it's really going to become the Netflix for traders. So it's just a matter of when do you guys get on board? Now, or do you hold out and continue to spin your wheels losing money? You'll learn from us because I think the best way to learn how to trade is not through a course or through anything other than watching real traders navigate the market. Guys who have experience, how do they make it out? How do they figure it out? That's what we show you on ASFX TV. But let's get into these trades. So you'll see here, the first one, this is on March 6th. This is an overnight trade. I like that we finished the previous day with a strong bounce, that power hour bounce here. So that gives me the idea that we could send this thing higher. This is ES from 50.87, the price of 50.87, back up towards the all-time high VWAP. So I put on the position you can see here with a 10-point stop loss. End of day rally gives me a nice bottom to trade from. I'm long with a 10-point stop, and I took profit in the middle of the night at about 4 o'clock when I woke up to take a leak. I did not have a take profit in. I wanted to leave it run into the morning. But when I wake up, of course, if you're trading overnight, you're going to look at the trade. So I did. I was at about 1.5 R. You can see that here. Risk 10, we're up 15. You're going to take profit on that. You've got to realize that gain. So then, as we get into the morning, you can see my exit right there at 4 a.m. We hold above this green all-time high VWAP. The black line you see on screen is the daily VWAP. So as we hold that all-time high VWAP and we are above the daily VWAP, naturally, I'm going to still look for longs. You can see the long execution here, full take profit at 1R, 5.7 on the stop, 6 points up. I'm taking that profit. So this strategy with VWAP, I'm trading for 1R. That's where I start to take profits most of the time, sometimes sooner, and you'll see that here. But I'm trying to take what the market can give me. If it's going to pop quickly and give me profits, I'm not going to let that trade go red because I can always reevaluate and get back in. But I can't let a trade go green to red. That's a huge no-no. One other thing, as we go through these trades, I'm not looking for shorts unless we're under the previous day's low. That's a huge tip. If you're trading ES, all I'm trading right now is ES. Don't look to short the market until we are under the previous day's low. Huge tip. So now we'll move to Friday the 8th. I bought this at the high of day, and I don't love that. I love buying under the high of day and trading up to it. But I took this because I felt like if we continued higher, I wanted to be involved, and I would be pissed if I didn't take this entry. So you can see we're above the daily VWAP. This is CPI news right here. It's NFP news. It's first Friday NFP. So I put a yellow anchor on that NFP news. You can also see I have yesterday's high marked. So we're above yesterday's high. We're above the news anchor. We're above the daily anchor. And we have A2s in play. That's the green flags here. On top of that, if you put a high of day purple anchor, purple VWAP, we're breaking that. So everything's set at that moment to be bullish. Now, what could I have done better on this trade? Well, as it breaks down under the yesterday's high, under the news VWAP, probably could have gotten some of the contracts off. Here, you see I take the full stop at about 15 points, but quickly I reassess the risk and I end up getting back in. Because why? That pin that stops me out, you can see the exit right there, doesn't end up even being a red candle that closes under the daily. We quickly get back above the daily. That's where I got back in long. Now I'm long at a better price, right? First I was long at 51.76. Now I'm long at 51.71. So it's just a better price. Still go in with the same stop loss and then look at here. 2 contracts off here near 1R, take off another contract here, the third contract off, and then this ended up going higher as the day went on. So still, even though I took a loss, I don't marry the second trade and try to run it all day. I follow the rules, bag the win, and just continue to stack the wins because I win more than I lose. And I've showed you guys that year after year, month after month in my review videos, that I'm confident in my ability to have a 60 to 70% win rate. So I will take losses fine, but I'm willing to then not let that loss lead to tilt. Tilt would be, I'm taking the position on a second trade, and because I lost already today, I need to get more out of the second trade. You have to leave the first trade behind, cut the emotional tie to it, and trade each trade as its own. So I think I did really well to get back in and not miss the move because I was in it. I was just a little bit early. And if I had waited until, after market open, this comes in at 9:32, that's where the bulls came in and took this thing higher. So I think this was really well done to take the loss and then take the win. I could have maybe mitigated the loss a little smaller, but I still ended up profitable on that day. We're going to fast forward to then the following Monday. Again, we're not under the previous day's low. So I want to think if we're going to trade long today, I need to be above the daily VWAP. So you can see the low of day VWAP, the New York VWAP, and the black VWAP. You see my long here. Stop is 11 points based on structure. And notice I'm out of the trade here and here. Second tap of that zone, which was Friday's low, I'm out. We are trading underneath it, so I'm going to take profit there. I'm not going to anticipate that this is going to break through that zone. Does that make sense to everybody? If it doesn't, write a comment for me so I can explain in more detail in the next video. Here again, we're above the previous day's high, above the daily VWAP. Put a VWAP on the high of day and buy the breaks of that VWAP. I put a long in here, I added to it here, and then look at that exit. Nailed it. Closed 6 of 7 contracts up here at 1R. It's a 3.25 point stop and a 4-point take profit. Just like that. That's why I like trading pre-market, because I can put on more contracts because the stop loss is going to be tighter because it's not moving as much. And then, cool, 7 contracts at 4 points. That's a nice 1,000-ish, couple, maybe like $1,100, $1,200. Easy. And then you can see full out on the last contract. Stop loss always gets locked at profit. If you've been watching me, you know that's how I do it. If I go 1R, stop loss always gets locked. I never let a trade go 1R and then go red. Never. Now, this is a really good markup to talk about. Someone was asking me, Austin, how do we play this long? I want you to see that at 8:30, the news sends us higher back to the daily VWAP. That's CAD news pushing the ES, pushing US markets higher. So that CAD news sends us higher. At the 9:30 open, buyers try to hold the daily VWAP here and they fail. They actually make a lower low compared to this low. You see my notes? So I'm not going to buy, as you can read in yellow, I'm not going to buy the break of the daily VWAP here. Instead, I'm going to wait for this to be tested. I'm going to wait for a higher low right here, and then I'm going to look to be long on that break or the second break after another higher low. So I'm using the daily to tell me when to get long because I'm not under the previous day's low, but I'm waiting for structure to be in my favor. I'm waiting for those higher lows to come in because that's when I know I can step in and join the party as a buyer with more confidence rather than fighting the trend as it's falling against me. It's pretty simple. Let's go to the next one. You'll see here, look at the bottom. Set at 5 a.m., 1, 2, 3, 4 hits to this price of 53.02. Okay, that's where my stop is going to be. If we take out the daily VWAP, because we're not under the previous day's low, I'm buying. It's not complicated because I use the rule of saying if I'm not under the previous day's low, I don't short it. If I'm above the previous day's low, I am looking for longs. So then I'm just waiting for it to get above the daily and paint signals for me. So you'll see I buy it here first. I add it in on the A2, and then you can see full take profit right here, 1 of 3, and then full out before the 8:30 news, 1R tagged. 6-point stop, 6 points up, easy money. And look at the structure. Higher high on the pullback. We add as we're making higher lows, and we're using the daily VWAP as the invalidation level. Where we should be scaling out of these trades is on the breaks of the daily VWAP against you. Just like you'll see here. This was this past week, yesterday. I'm long above the daily VWAP, trading to the high of day zone. It's in a tight range yesterday. We know markets have been ranging the last week of this month. So I buy that because if it does want to move higher, I'm going to be pissed if I miss that entry. But very quickly, you can see the stop is 4.75 points. When this starts to break with accelerated movement under the daily VWAP, that's where you can see I pulled the full trade. I'm out. I'm not marrying this thing. I can always get back in. But then because we're in a range, I buy it again off the bottom. And I'm anticipating that we're going to trade back to the daily VWAP. So we're not underneath the previous day's low, which is why I don't just sell this break of the daily VWAP to the downside. If we were under the previous day's low, then we would look for shorts. But until then, I'm identifying the range, trying to find the bottom, which was the low of day. It's the blue zone you see. And I went in with my second try. I always try twice. If I lose twice on the same pair, same direction, same day, I stop. So if I would have lost this trade, I would have been done. But you can see, you put the buy in, traded back to the daily VWAP, recovered majority of the first loss. And then I went on to take a few more trades yesterday on TopStep TV. I was on their stream and shit and ended up finishing the day up like $800, which is really good. And this is some of the trades you can see in the afternoon. Again, put a VWAP on the high of day. That's purple. I'm buying off of the daily and I'm buying the break of that high of day VWAP. I ended up fat fingering in a couple more contracts. So that's why you see a couple of exits here. I added in again here. I held in through this retest of the daily VWAP because it did not paint two red bars underneath the daily VWAP. I know it can dance around here like it did here and still go higher. So even though it's testing that level, it would have to have painted two big red bars underneath it for me to start to piece out of my long trade. The long trade is still valid because this could be a higher low. And then look at where I take off the profit. Close 2 of 4 contracts right there at the new high of day, which is another thing I think I did well. A lot of people would see it break for a new high of day and they might even add in or get married to the idea. Whereas for me, I'm like, nah, it's popping, quick, give me those gains. I can always get back in. And I did. Later in the day, there was actually one more trade. I made another $100 and that's how I finished the day up like 800. So it was a good month overall, a really good finish to the month. And I mean, this 1 week here where I was just hot, couldn't miss. One trade win, 4 trades win, 1 trade win, 1 trade win. It's a beautiful week. And you can see there's only 2 days, which was at the beginning of the month where I was trading a little heavier, that were like outsized. The rest of these days, I'm just winning and I'm bouncing. So like, take that from me. I'm not married to the market. Again, if we go to my reports, and if you're watching this far into the video, I really appreciate it. But if we go over this again, look at the average win time. It's an hour. Average loss time, 30 minutes. It's quick. Don't marry the losses. Next month, I'm focused on making my average losing day smaller and my average winning day a little bit bigger. But I think those are really good numbers. If you're trying to pass 150K combine, try to follow that. Average winning trade, $738. Average losing trade is $745. So those average numbers I was giving you are P&L at the end of the day. This is intra-trade, right? So each trade on a 150K account, on average, I'm shooting for about $700 profit or not letting it lose more than $700. Pretty straightforward. I'll show you this too, just because I know some of you guys are interested. What time of day am I trading best? You can see near the open is actually costing me money right now. And it's when I'm trading the most, which is interesting. And I think a lot of you would see something similar there. If you look at trade duration, you can see as well, I'm able to cut these losses pretty quickly. And that's what this shows. Day of the week, Wednesday, crushing it. Wednesday and Thursday are my most traded days. You can see I come into the week slow and I finish the week slow. I barely trade on Mondays. I had 2 Mondays where I traded. But Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I'm working. Tuesday is the day. I'm not going to not trade Tuesdays, but Tuesday was the day that hurt me this month. But that just happened to be because I had that one red day on the Tuesday. And then, I can show you this too. We use the playbook feature of TradeZella where I tag each trade, right? I haven't done all of them. I have to catch up, but you can see the expectancy and the win rate based on the trades that you take. You saw a lot of my A2s in the markups we went over. You saw a lot of my anchored VWAP breaks, and that's what we categorize them as. So again, from this video, hopefully you learned what I'm doing well. Take from that, apply it to your own trading. You see the mistakes that I'm kind of still working on, right? But I think this is a great month, and that's why I don't mind making these videos. I love making the videos where I'm a struggling trader and, there's so much to rip me up about, but hopefully this will motivate you guys to understand the value of compounding small wins. None of these days are completely outsized. I didn't pass the challenge in 2 days. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you have to understand how to slowly crawl yourself to the finish line. It's not going to just come in one day. And then as you stick that habit into your brain, into your body, it gets easier to practice it every day. So if you have any questions, put them in the comments. There's a link in the description for ASFX TV to come trade with me. There's a TradeZella link and a discount code down there. I'll even put a TopStep link. If you want to use my link for TopStep and take a futures combine, I'll put that for you guys. But hopefully this has been helpful. I really appreciate you if you watched all the way through. Drop a comment. Tell me what you think. Loved it, hated it. What did I do bad? What could I do better? Tell me anything. I'll just take the comments no matter how they are. But we've got a ton of fun podcasts coming this month, so make sure you're subscribed. Again, thank you guys for watching this. I just can't Thank you guys enough. I appreciate all you so much. If there's anything I can ever do for you, my email address is info@asfx.biz. I'm happy to help. I hope you guys had a great March. Let's have an even better April. I hope you pass your first Futures Combine or maybe your 10th Futures Combine. I hope you all have a successful rest of the year. So until next time, make sure you're subscribed, and I'll see you in the next video.